Jumbo Mambo familia Angu, Mimini Eli-Ben-Eli, Habariako, Karibu, Karibu, Karibu. Earlier today, okay, I just wanted to get directly into the subject that I wanted to talk about. But before I do, let me say this. If you haven't liked and subscribed, please like and subscribe. Definitely comment. I love comments. I love chatting with people. So please, please go ahead and comment. Lately, what I have been trying to do is to restrict myself to subjects that I really feel a genuine interest in, and I don't even really know whether other people that who watch my videos are interested in these subjects. But I've been watching the videos of twin hangouts in Kenya, and I'm fascinated by their videos. These two young ladies make the kind of videos that I find very, very fascinating. That isn't to say that I don't find the videos about Niabo Hanse and Mara, and that I don't find those videos fascinating. I do. It's just that I find these videos even more fascinating for me because they talk about something that I find very relevant to my personal existence. I am a black man. My original culture happened to be the Hispanic culture, more particularly the culture of the Dominican Republic. But in America, the way that I see it, and I'm at peace with it. People are gonna judge you based on who you are because of your looks, and from the time that I was a young person, I have always judged myself, on the basis of my inheritance, the heritage that I have, my West African heritage. I've always that's probably the most important thing that I identify by, and I say that for a certain reason. Apparently, and I'm not going to identify who told me this, but I will put it like this. Somebody who I know who is a medical profession, recently retired from that profession, but has been a medical profession for several decades, told me something that I found really fascinating, and that is that there is how would I put it? There is a preconceived notion among the medical profession that somehow there's a difference in between how we as black people react to pain, how we feel pain, versus how other people react to pain and feel about pain. And the way that manifests itself is that they go ahead and it's like, or allegedly, let's put it like this, allegedly, but I believe that it is true. Allegedly, if a doctor is treating a black patient versus a white patient, he'll assume that person can withstand a lot more pain. He might use a thicker needle, all kinds of crazy stuff, and the twins had a video that I really found fascinating about how there are all kinds of assumptions about what black women that are giving birth feel. But what I wanted to say about the topic is, it isn't just black women who, fall for prey to that kind of thinking. First of all, disease is political in America. Disease is very, very political. And what does that mean? It means that depending on who you are, how you get diagnose is completely different. Okay, if and this is my personal experience. I'm not talking about something that I don't know anything about. If you have an operation on your spine and it renders you paraplegic, they tell you, "Oh, there's nothing wrong with you. You're just lazy." You know, you. I remember I had an operation on my back, which to this day has left me in a wheelchair. And when I came out of the operating room, I could not walk. Couldn't walk. And a white nurse walked into the room and told me, "Okay, what I expect from you is that if you're gonna, they took me to the room that I was gonna do some recovery in. If you feel like if you need to use the bathroom, do not try to use the bathroom in bed. You're gonna get up and you're gonna walk to that bathroom and use that bathroom, and you're not gonna eat in bed. And I'm looking at this woman, and you have to understand something. I had just come out of surgery. I'm feeling weak. I'm feeling tired, and I'm dealing with this idiot, and she and blah 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 blah. Well, finally I ignored her. There came a point at which I turned my face away and I ignored her. Some friends came to visit me as she was leaving, and these, as it happens, this was a white woman, a friend of mine, and her daughter. This woman had something in her head. I don't know what it was. She looks at me, "Okay, Tony," but doesn't call me by my last name, doesn't call me Mister, doesn't call me Sir, calls me by my first name. I'm about to leave. You better behave. And my approach to dealing with certain situations is, you can make me angry enough for me to want to tear your head off, your shoulders. I'm not going to let you know how I'm feeling. I'm just going to deal with it in my own way. I ignored her. I paid her no attention, and my friends were like, "What's wrong with that woman?" I told them she has a nasty personality. Well, that night before I could even go to sleep, because not only was I not feeling well, but I was very, very angry when the next nurse came along. I told her, I need to talk to your supervisor. And when the supervisor came, I said, "My understanding is that lady who was on the day shift is going to be my nurse." And I told her I'm doing my best to cope with a difficult situation, but she was rude, she was disrespectful, and if she comes into this room again, my reaction is going to be a little different. And she told me, "Well, what do you want me to do?" I said, there's no reason for me to ever put eyes on that woman again. I don't care if I'm supposed to be her patient, move me to another room, because I have nothing to say to her and she has nothing to say to me. The last time that I checked, I don't intend to fall victim to a member of the clan, to keep her away from me. And the nurse, who incidentally happened to be a black African woman, told me, "No problem, sir, and I'm sorry you had that experience," because I went into some details about how rude that woman was. That hasn't been a constant experience in dealing with hospitals. Okay, but I have been in hospitals for a lot of reasons. I was in a hospital because of a back operation, and at that particular hospital did an operation on me, but it wasn't a back operation. Pretty soon after that, I ended up at another hospital. And in my experience, there is a level of rudeness that that a lot of medical professionals have, toward black people. And whenever those kind of situations happen, I never make an assumption. I will ask other people who know that person, do they have a problem with certain kind of people, and a lot of the time they'll come right out and tell you. I have had that problem again and again and again. Why am I saying this story? I'm saying this story because the twins again did a story about how black women tend to be treated badly when they're giving birth, and how they're basically putting their life at risk sometimes and going to the hospitals. And I happen to know that that's very true. I happen to see, the thing is that if you look at the American mass media, for that matter, Western mass media, they want you to walk away with the false assumption that doctors, nurses, hospital people are just such wonderful, saintly, humorous people, and those shows make those people seem like angels. I beg to differ. Just recently, here in North Texas, a doctor at a hospital where I was staying, a hospital where I had an operation done, and was treated incredibly rudely by the surgeon. I mean, he was a nightmare. And apparently a lot of black people have that problem at that hospital. I won't mention the name. But apparently, and you can look this up in the news and on the internet. You'll see that I'm not, this is the truth. One of the anesthesiologists in that hospital was recently convicted in federal court of tainting IV bags and poisoning patients with poisoned IV bags. Okay? The medical profession is having a crisis, and the crisis is that here in the South and in certain parts of the country, okay, doctors are part of the political system just like anybody else. And the reason that I say that illness is political is this: how you are treated depends on the politics of the person doing the treating. It depends on your race. It depends on who they believe in politically, who they don't believe in politically. And there are a lot of people in the medical profession that are in fact wonderful people. There are also other people that walk into that room that you're in trying to recover with an agenda. And they may have a lot of hostility toward black people. They may feel that if you are there, unless you're a rich person or have rich friends or rich connections, that you should be treated in a certain kind of way. The medical profession has a crisis. And there's a line that a young nurse said in that video that the twins were showing, Moran and Maureen. She said that something to the effect of, if somebody tells you that they're colorblind, chances are that they aren't. Okay, my attitude is, how are you gonna be colorblind? I'm a black man and you're something else. You may be Oriental, because that problem isn't just black and white. There are a lot of Oriental doctors who have that kind of have really bad attitude toward black patients, and at the end of the day, people need to address this kind of thing. The medical profession needs to address it because it's causing people a lot of harm. Recently, when the COVID epidemic reached a point at which they came up with vaccines that they wanted to give people in order to help prevent the further spread of COVID. A lot of black people simply didn't trust the medical establishment enough to get vaccines. I know some of those people. They just didn't trust them. How can you argue with them? I mean, I would argue with people that I know who didn't want to take the vaccine. I would tell them, of course you're right. The medical profession is not to be trusted. But on the other hand, we need to do what we can do, even if we don't trust them, in order to protect ourselves and keep ourselves healthy. And that involves taking a chance. But Maureen and Maureen, excellent video. These two ladies prove what I keep talking about, and that is that the world is so much bigger than Ayamara and Rocio Cabrera and Niabo Hanset. And there are really, 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 all of those videos about those subjects that I just mentioned are red herrings. They're prime distractors. While people are acting like if this kind of, those subjects are so incredibly interesting, we have a war that I think, in my opinion, is racist going on in Gaza. Okay, and there's some people out there that might see this video that might disagree with me. My attitude is, this is a democracy. You're entitled to think what you want. We have wars going on in Africa, in the Sudan. There are all kinds of problems that are going on, and it's kind of sad that instead of engaging with each other, instead of talking to each other, discussing these things, and at least raising people's awareness about these things, we spend most of our time, gossiping about, people who are doing this and are doing that. Yeah, those issues are important, but there are people that I would love to hear them talk about these kind of issues because they're very intelligent, they're respected, and people would listen to what they have to say. There's nothing wrong with a little bit of light, humorous stories about certain individuals. All that I say is, come on now. These people are not these subjects that some people deal with incessantly aren't the only subjects that are worth paying attention to. And please do not judge the size of my channel or the fact that I don't have a lot of subscribers as an indication of the fact that, hey, maybe I better get with the program and do that. If that's the case, I'll take my chances. Twin Hangouts in Kenya, they have going on 27,000 followers, and their channel is growing. In the brief time that I have been watching the channel has really been growing fast. People are interested in hearing something other than, stuff about Niabo Hanset. And I'm going to tell you something. I'm not criticizing anybody. I love most of the reactors and everything. For a period of time, everybody knows I used to comment on those topics and everything. I don't consider myself a reactor. I don't consider myself somebody who was engaging in intellectual analysis. I would just post videos and I would try to have a little fun and be a little humorous. But, I can't in good conscience do that with a war going on in the Middle East, that involves two groups of people, both of whom I care about a great deal. I can't watch that when I know that there's stories like what Maureen and Maureen were talking about, the racism in the medical establishment. People are saying that America is a post-racial society. That's a lot of rubbish. We need to talk about these things because the problems that are affecting the people in the Sudan who are experiencing war, the problems that are affecting the people of Kenya who are dying because of floods or being displaced because of floods and everything, all of those things are important, and they're a lot more important than talking about individuals and what they do with their girlfriends and whether they're scamming other people. My attitude is, yeah, those are interesting topics, and yeah, it's terrible that they do that, but those are prime distractors. Those are red herrings. At the end of the day, there are things that are infinitely more important than we should talk about. Please like and subscribe to my channel, and Thank you, Asante Asana, for watching this video. May God bless each and every one of you. And folks, quit being so trusting of Western medicine. Quit being so trusting of doctors. Okay, the Mazungu doctor that you think is some kind of a saint or an angel, they may be exactly the opposite. We need to alert ourselves and each other about these kind of things. Anyway, once again, Asante Asena, Kwaheri.